Welcome to Aaron Mahnke's Cabinet of Curiosities, a production of iHeartRadio and Grim and Mild.
Our world is full of the unexplainable. And if history is an open book, all of these amazing tales are right there on display, just waiting for us to explore. Welcome to the Cabinet of Curiosities.
Have you ever heard the stories about mothers who perform impossible feats to save their children? Things like lifting cars or boulders. Some people believe that in these instances, the mind takes over everything in the body. Others believe that certain physical aspects, like the car's angle, made the feat possible. Well, today's story revolves around a woman who accomplished incredible feats. However, in her scenario, people didn't attribute it to extreme motivation or sheer luck. They perceived it as something much harder to define. Sometime around 1849, American colonizers arrived in a large area called Apacheria. This region now makes up parts of Mexico, Arizona, and New Mexico. They were there to take the land from the native inhabitants. About 7 Apache tribes lived in that region. They were known for their nomadic lifestyle and their strong battle skills. By the time the colonizers arrived, the Apache people had been fighting Mexican soldiers for years. One day, the colonizers quietly crept in on an Apache settlement near New Mexico. They planned to surprise attack the people, raid the settlement, and then kill everyone living there. But they underestimated the tribe. When the attackers descended upon the settlement, the Apache people came out in full force. The attackers were stunned. Not only did the tribe seem to know that they were coming, but for every Apache man, there was a woman behind him ready to strike should he go down. The colonizers were completely unprepared. They were beaten in a landslide, and those who survived were scared away. The Apache tribe was left mostly unscathed, especially because the women who didn't fight protected the children. However, there was one child, a girl of about 12 years old named Lozin, who didn't receive protection because she was on the battlefield. After the attack, many of the warriors, including the great-grandson of Geronimo, praised Lozin's skill in battle. From the day she was born, Lozin was ready to fight. The tribe she was born into had a matriarchal culture, so the fact that she was a girl never really stood in her way. In fact, one of the tribe's deities, known as the White Painted Woman, was believed to be a great healer and an example of heroism and womanhood. When girls came of age, the tribe carried out a 4-day ceremony during which the girls emulated White Painted Woman. The ceremony involved tests of the girls' endurance. Afterward, the girls were considered women and took on more responsibility for their families. Legend has it that Lozin's ceremony was especially powerful. As she went through the rituals, White Painted Woman visited with her and gifted her with unparalleled skills in battle. These abilities equipped Lozin for the endless fighting that she would endure throughout her lifetime. After New Mexico became a U.S. territory, the gold rush sent floods of miners through her tribe's region, so the Apache people constantly fought to keep their land. Thanks to her gift, Lozin was instrumental in these battles. She often carried out a secret operation. She snuck behind enemy lines, rounded up their horses, and stole them. The enemy never saw her coming. This was how she got her name, which means dexterous horse thief. But Lozin was capable of so much more. Her brother, Chief Victorio, described her as strong as a man, braver than most, and cunning in strategy. He also said that Lozin was a shield to her people. Lozin's brother wasn't the only one who admired her so much, though. She was also a close friend and ally to Geronimo. Lozin's people were always at the center of her heart. Throughout all the battles and raids that she fought in, there were multiple times when she helped women and children cross rivers safely and hide from the enemy. She even once helped a woman deliver a baby amid their escape journey. She always seemed to know which routes to take to avoid being caught. Many wonder how Lozin always evaded enemy detection. Her ability to do so infuriated her opponents and mesmerized her tribe. But Lozin's tribe knew something that their enemies did not. It all went back to that fateful day in Lozin's life, when she went through her coming-of-age ceremony. When the White Painted Woman visited Lozin and gifted her with skills in battle, they weren't just any skills. They were supernatural powers. And this is why it was said that Lozin could predict which direction enemies came from. When preparing for battle, she would walk slowly in a circle with both hands raised in the air. Eventually, the veins in her arms would turn dark blue. When that happened, Lozin knew the direction she was facing was where the enemy would come from. Regardless of whether you believe people can actually have these kinds of powers, there's no denying that Lozin had a cunning ability to predict attackers' movements. Today, Apache girls undergo the same coming-of-age ceremony. We don't know if anyone has reportedly been visited by the white-painted lady again, but this tradition, alongside Lozin's legacy, serves as a powerful reminder of the resilience and strength of womanhood. We tend to mythologize the concept of the dream job, that if you set out to be a dancer or a firefighter or even a Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade balloon designer for a living, there's a set path to achieve that goal. In reality, most people's journeys have a lot of zigs and zags before they figure out what they want to do. Sometimes it's not so much a dream or an achievement that sets you on the right path, but a huge blunder. Like how in the 200s BCE, the course of Chinese history was changed forever when a county sheriff named Lu Bang made a royal mistake. Bang didn't start out wanting to change the world. He mostly just wanted to hang out with his friends and shirk his duties. He was born in 256 BCE, the son of peasant farmers on the east coast of China. Most kids in his position would have ended up working the rice paddies like his parents, or else making a living as a fisherman. Only by gaining an education could someone from the rice fields rise above their station. Except Bang wasn't particularly interested in learning or hard work. He ran into trouble with the law very often and was characterized in his youth as a delinquent and a rascal. Still, what Bang lacked in wealth, education, or ambition, he more than made up for in charm. You see, he was a charismatic young man who made connections very easily. Although he had very little money and reportedly lived off what his working brother could give him, he was generous with his coin. And this led to him befriending several mid-level bureaucrats working for the imperial government. And with his new friend's help, Bang was able to secure a well-paying job as a local sheriff. Now, this cushy government job might have been the end of his history of falling upwards if it wasn't for an incident in the early 200s BCE when Bang was in his 40s. At that time, the Qin dynasty ruled China. For decades, the Qins had been building an immense mausoleum to house their first Qin emperor, who had just died in 210 BCE. The planned mausoleum was the size of a city, several miles across, and housing not only his tomb, but also palaces, fake rivers made of flowing mercury, and thousands of terracotta warriors to protect the emperor in the afterlife. In the year 209 BCE, Sheriff Bang was ordered to escort a group of prisoners to work on that mausoleum. The Qin dynasty was known for harsh laws, which punished many small offenses with hard labor, imprisonment, and sometimes even death. This upset the people under Qin rule, as they might find themselves laboring for the rest of their lives over such a small offense. During transit, several of the prisoners escaped Bang. Under Qin law, the official who let the prisoners escape was supposed to be executed. Seeing no way out of his punishment, he decided to double down and free all of the prisoners. He quickly found himself the unlikely leader of a group of anti-Qin rebels. Many of the freed prisoners followed him to a nearby mountain where they occupied an abandoned fort. Now an outlaw, Bang decided that he may as well go all in. All across the empire, different groups had sprung up to fight against the emperor. From his stronghold in the mountains, he joined this network of resistance and became a leading force in the fight against the Qin dynasty. He played up his humble beginnings to attract sympathy from disgruntled peasants, and with their support, began conquering Qin territory, state by state. By 202 BCE, just 7 years later, the Qin dynasty had officially come to an end, and Lu Bang, the lazy peasant's son and failed sheriff, was the new Han Emperor of China. He only ruled for 7 years, but his impact lasted much longer. The Han dynasty reigned for 400 years, during which it expanded the Chinese empire further than it had ever stretched before. His focus on trade and expansion led to the legendary Silk Road, which connected East Asia to the Middle East, North Africa, and the Roman Empire, starting in the 100s BCE. Today, many scholars of Chinese history consider Liu Bang as influential to ancient China as Julius Caesar was to Rome. While they had very different origins, they reached the same heights. As William Shakespeare said, some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. And like Liu Bang, you never know what might kickstart your next career change.
I hope you've enjoyed today's guided tour of the Cabinet of Curiosities. Subscribe for free on Apple Podcasts or learn more about the show by visiting curiositiespodcast.com. This show was created by me, Aaron Mahnke, in partnership with How Stuff Works. I make another award-winning show called Lore, which is a podcast, book series, and television show, and you can learn all about it over at theworldoflore.com. And until next time, stay curious.